Hi, and welcome to part two of how to find your true calling. In part one, we talked about the 7 questions creatives should ask themselves in order to find out what their true calling is. And we learned that your calling is completely unique to your gifts and your talents and the experiences you've had in life, where your passions come from, and all sorts of things like that. This week, we'll talk about the 3 important things for discovery. So, hopefully, you have already gone over part one and downloaded that PDF printable and worked out your questions and figured some things out, maybe discovered some things about yourself. Because if you haven't, you really need to go back and do that first so that we can take what we learned about ourselves and who we are, what we discovered about our true calling, and continue to cultivate that thing and continue to grow that thing so that you have an actual purpose that is focused. And you won't get confused, people won't get confused as to what you're trying to do, and everybody will just live a happier life because of it. All right, so if you haven't gone through part one, please go back and do that right now. Like right now, pause this and go back and find it and do it. For those of you that have already gone through part one, we'll continue today. The 3 important things to consider for discovery. So, when I was a tattoo artist, I always had the belief of the fact that tattoos shouldn't just like be put on somebody like I mean, yeah, there's like silly tattoos out there that you can get, and I mean that's like, you put it on you or whatever, but I have this like deep connection with like the spiritual side of tattooing, and I've always felt that tattoos should be uncovered or discovered, not just put on you like a sticker or stamp or anything like that. They should tell the viewer like who you are or a little bit about yourself without maybe giving everything away about who you are. And I feel like your true calling is pretty much the same. It should be uncovered, it should be discovered, should tell a little bit about who you really are, and people should feel a connection with that. And I want to go through 3 important things to help kind of cultivate that as it grows and as you find more and as you go down that path further. One of the very first things that you should start doing, and I challenge you to do this daily. If you can't do it daily, try to at least get some kind of consistency in doing this. And it doesn't necessarily have to look like the traditional way. You can make something up. But the first important thing in discovery is journaling. Journaling is super important. It gives you a window into your soul and your spirit. It's also a good gauge at where you are, and it's a good thing to go back to in the future to find out how far you've come along, or if you're still dealing with something that you need to really address and like kind of make sure that you're taking care of it and not just perpetuating some stuff, especially like negative stuff. And I feel like reading your Bible and journaling, they go hand in hand. There are some things in the Bible that are really awesome for your soul, and I believe it's where the Spirit of God can just grab a hold of you and like start to really speak to you. So, There's all kinds of things in the Bible. There's like history, there's like stories, there are poems, there are songs, there is some stuff that's like futuristic and really like ooh mystical kind of stuff, and then there are letters. And I believe, and as far as communication is concerned, and as far as telling a story is concerned, and as far as how to have relationship is concerned, the Bible is has got it all. So that's why I want to really challenge you to start reading that thing. And um, if you need to find a plan, there are plenty of plans like online. And then start to journal on the things that you've read, or journal the things that come up like in your heart after you read it. It will change your world and it will change your life, I promise. If you really actually give it a fair shot, this stuff is so powerful. Um, I've done a lot of this in my life, and the times that I didn't do it, I suffered greatly. And so I want to encourage you to start at least journaling. Heavily consider reading your Bible regularly if you haven't. If you haven't ever done it, or if you haven't done it in a while. And yeah, write those thoughts down. Do some like soul searching. You can draw in it. You can do whatever you want in your journal. You can keep it in a book. You can keep it online. You can keep it in several different places and then bring it together. I don't care what you do, as long as you're getting your thoughts out there and you're creating something that you can come back um, to gauge where you are, where you've been, and the direction in which you should go in the future. Important thing to consider for discovery number 2 is accountability. This is a tough one for me. I have always been kind of an individual when it comes to being creative and like doing creative things. I've never really liked group settings when it comes to this stuff. And I used to hate critiques. And anytime somebody was like, oh, let's go to like a group pottery class or whatever, I was just like, not about it. I like a lot of one on one stuff. So if that class had a lot of like one on one, maybe I'd consider it. But that stuff has kind of changed for me lately. I realize that if you're going to thrive and if you're going to discover more about really who you are, you need an outside perspective. And making sure that person is trustworthy, or making sure those people are people that are um, people of integrity is important, because this stuff is like super delicate at times, right? And then sometimes you're sensitive about the things that you're creating. I mean, most of the time I'm sensitive about the things I'm creating. And I've had to learn to kind of not be so sensitive in some situations. So, having a community and having people to bounce ideas off of, without fear, without doubt that, maybe they're not for you or whatever, is like key. Having a community of other creatives will help you level up in so many words. You really need that community. You really need people to like be inspired by. You really need somebody to give you an opinion that you couldn't see or couldn't observe because it's you, right? So it's really hard to look in like our own mirror for stuff And especially if you're in a place where you're maybe stuck or stagnant, you really need an outside perspective to kind of move forward. And especially whenever you're doing something new, you just want to make sure that you're successful and that you're creating something that people will actually be into, and that the direction in which you're going is the right direction. It's just good to have that accountability with somebody, that relationship with somebody where you guys can, you know, say how it really is. Like, even if it's a little harsh or a little blunt, maybe that thing really can't work out. Well, it'll save you a lot of headache of trying if you have somebody to tell you, like, hey, maybe you could do this instead, and that will be better received, that kind of thing. And, it's good to have more than one person that you can, like, bounce this stuff off of. It has helped me tremendously in the things that I'm doing. And so I'm going to challenge you to find your accountability, find your tribe, find your community, and hopefully we can create something together with everything that we're doing here. And so maybe that can be your community once it's, headed up. So find some accountability. And last but not least, and the three important things to consider for discovery is investment. This is a big one, right? Um, for the most part, I guess artists have this like thing where they're like, starving artist. Oh, I'm a starving artist. I mean, there are a lot of artists out there that aren't starving, but for the most part, it does kind of seem like as an artist, you're just kind of dooming yourself to no return on investment or signs of prolific things in your life. Um, so, I just want to challenge you to invest in yourself. I know you probably got just a little bit to work with. I get it. Trust me. I get it so bad. But the investments that you make on yourself and what you're doing, if they are in the right direction, will return to you like double, triple fold. So, what I mean by investing in yourself is like taking the time to educate yourself, learn some stuff, take a course, um, take a class, whatever, however you feel like you're in the best learning environment. Some people can learn stuff online, some people have to be in a classroom, some people can uh, just read a book. But all I'm saying is invest in what you're trying to do. Learn as much as you can. And don't stay just within your like realm of like expertise. Don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone and buy a book. Like if you're into pottery, or if you're into painting, or if you're into writing music, don't be scared to go into something like buying a sales book, or buying a leadership book, or buying some course that somebody put together for you to like grow your email list, or grow like your following, or grow anything in your business. Um, it's really important for you to like seek things out that are gonna return to you. Um, if you need to upgrade your gear, by all means, please do that. You know, the investment that you're making on that thing to make yourself better, to make what you're churning out better in the long run is going to be great. Um, I know that one of the questions in the 7 questions, part one of how to find your true calling, one of the questions was, um, what do you own or what do you possess? Start to take an inventory of the things that you do have that you're able to do with, and then make a plan to get better stuff. Make a plan to upgrade. Make a plan, write the things down that you really want. Like, it's okay to like dream about those things, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to take that thing, you're going to take that list, and you're going to be able to cross it off later because you were actually subconsciously working towards that thing. Like, just knowing in the back of your head that this is the end goal, it's like knowing that you only have half of the race left to run, right? So you're encouraged and you get your second wind, and you're like, I can do this. I've already done like halfway. There's no turning back. Like, it would be ridiculous to just quit. So make a list of those things that you need to improve upon or upgrade. And always, always, always invest in yourself. Like, I cannot tell you how important this is to really like believe in yourself and to believe in what you're doing by investing into that thing and learning more about it and getting better at it. Um, if you put all these things into practice, I know you're going to totally move forward, and because I've done it. And so I just want to challenge you, invest in yourself. Invest in what you're doing. Invest in what you're trying to create. All right, quick recap on the 3 important things to consider for discovery. Number 1, read your Bible and journal. Journaling is so important to be able to document the things going on and where you're coming from and where you're going, and to be able to assess like your kind of soul thermometer is like key in moving forward in this thing. 2, have accountability. It is so important to have a community or to have a tribe or to have people to bounce your ideas off of, or to seek for advice, even to seek for a type of mentorship to help you through what you're trying to cultivate and what you're trying to grow. They'll be able to tell you some things that maybe you would never think to consider or to assess when it comes to that, and it could save you a ton of headache in the future. And then 3, and finally, invest. Invest in yourself, invest in what you're doing. If it is your true calling, that thing is gonna happen. And honestly, nobody's gonna do it except you. So invest in education, invest in growing, invest in upgrading things that you need upgraded. Just work towards a goal to be better in the future. Subconsciously, I mean, it just works. I can't tell you like the scientific formula for it, but when I write things down, like in my dream list, or when I write things down, like things I want to do in a year, I don't know. They just happen because I guess I just know they're in there and that they need to happen. And so that's like kind of the direction that I place myself in to do that thing. I hope this has helped you. And like I said, if you went through this and you didn't do part one, please do part one. Those 7 questions are super important when you're trying to find your true calling. And then this will help kind of cultivate, it'll come alongside that thing and kind of help it together. As they work together, I know you'll grow. So I hope you're encouraged, and I hope you've had a great week so far, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next time. All right, bye.